Adrianne here, and today I'm coming to you with a review from NYX, and it's going to be on 3 NYX concealers that I've purchased from Ulta. 2 of them are products that I've been using since last fall, and one of them is one that I just recently purchased over the last few weeks, and those 3 products are the NYX Dark Circle Concealer, and it comes in a jar like this, and also the NYX high definition concealer that's supposed to be awesome for photos, and the NYX Conceal and Correct contour palette. The first product I'm going to start off with is going to be the Dark Circle Conceal and Correct. I'm going to go ahead and open that up and take a little swatch of it and show you what it looks like on the back of my hand. It looks pretty light. This is actually supposed to be an orange corrector. It's supposed to have orange in it, but that doesn't really look orangey to me. It kind of looks like a normal concealer. This concealer comes in 4 different shades from fair to deep. I'm going to go in on this eye here and try to cover these dark circles. As you can see, I've got pretty deep dark circles, and that's normal for me hereditary wise. Here comes my mirror so I can see what I'm doing. I've had dark circles under my eyes ever since I was a child. Everybody in my family has dark circles under their eyes, so there's things we can do at times that make them better, but they never completely go away. And as you can see with this concealer, I'm trying to keep it directly on the darkest part of my eyes, and I may dab a little here on my nose. I'm starting to get dark spots because I've been wearing my glasses a lot more over this past year, so I have to try to conceal those dark spots when I've got my contacts in. And gosh, it seems like I'm packing it on and packing it on, and it's not really setting up. It feels like it's kind of moving around and not really covering too well. I don't know what you think of that versus this eye, but I still see quite a bit of shadow in here. I'm going to go into the other eye with it and put it on, and this eye I will actually set with some translucent powder so we can see how each eye looks when they're done, and what you think of the coverage of this product. As far as the orange undertones that it's supposed to have, I don't really see where it's doing much color correcting. It looks like it's just kind of coating the dark circles, and I don't think it's really covering them that great, but we'll let the product sit. I think that looks pretty well blended. I'm going to turn the light on my magnifier mirror for a second and take a peek. Oh, that's really glowing in the monitor. Not sure what it looks like to you guys, but I think that's pretty well blended. It has lightened them quite a bit, but the product does feel very hydrating. Feels kind of like you're patting and patting, and it's never drying and setting like to an opaque finish. So hopefully once I set it with a dab of translucent powder, and I'm going to pop it under this eye, hopefully it does well. A little too old for baking. That just brings out the creases in my eye. So now I'm going to go in with this brush and just knock off any of the loose translucent powder and let that sit. So here are both of the eyes. This one is with the product. Let me turn that light off and tip this out of the way. This one's the first eye that I didn't set with any translucent powder, and this is the eye with the translucent powder with it set. So this is what it would actually look like if I were to wear it out. Move in a little bit closer so you can see. And that is the NYX Dark Circle Concealer. $5.99 for a jar, so it's definitely something that's worth a try if you've got bad dark circles. It's not a real expensive product. It's very affordable. Also, now I'm going to go in with the eye makeup remover and just wipe that off gently. Seems to come off pretty well without rubbing too hard. That's the amount of product that I used. And now I'm going to go in with the second concealer, and like I said, I've been using this one since fall, and this is the high definition concealer that's for photo finishes, and it's a really good concealer. I do like it a lot. The only issue that I found with it is I'm not able to do any brightening with this product. I feel like I'm just putting it on and it's covering up the dark circle, but I never can add any lightening underneath the eye. Go ahead and dab a little bit. I like to try and dab higher also, so that way when I'm blending it doesn't go below the dark circle. So I'm just going to tap that in with the finger. And it's blending pretty well and covering up. I also didn't mention that this color is Nutmeg. It is CW08 is what it says on the top of the lid, and it is Nutmeg. This product comes in multiple shades. I think, let me see, this one comes in 19 different shades, from light to very deep. And then there's 3 additional corrector shades, yellow and lavender and green. So there's no orange corrector in this formulation. I would love it if they would make one. I would definitely purchase it, just trying to wipe off some of the excess underneath the dark spot. I'll try and go in and cover up the dark spot from the glasses. See how that works. Dab that in. It blends out fairly decent. All the concealers look pretty good when I first put them on the dark spots from the glasses, but the problem is once they settle for a while, they seem to almost make the dark spot look darker as far as the glasses go. And this eye almost looks, to me, it's kind of hard to tell if it's a shadow that I'm seeing, but it almost looks like it's starting to darken in the creases of my under eye here. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on the other side and then set it with some translucent powder and see how it does. I'm just tapping it on that dark spot on this side also. So hard to tap stuff into your eye or put mascara on without making that ugly face. Concentrating hard, trying not to do that. I think that's about as blended as it's gonna get. Before I set that with the loose powder, I'll come in closer so you guys can see. Now I will take a little bit of translucent powder and set that eye with it. It doesn't feel quite like it's as important to put the powder under this one, since it is one that dries more so than the last one, which seemed to be more of a cream base. But I would still set it anyway, just so you don't run the risk of so much creasing. But this is the finish. This is the eye where I just put the concealer, and this is the eye that has the concealer and the translucent powder to set it. So that is the HD Photo Finish Concealer from NYX, and that's what the finish looks like. And now I'm going to remove that one. I have really high expectations from concealers now. The problem that I'm running into is that, like I said, I've always had the dark circles from Hereditary, but now I'm starting to get the little fine crepey skin underneath the eyes. It's not even so much crow's feet or wrinkle, it's just that, you know, the skin's so thin and delicate under the eye, it starts to get crepey. as you age, and now different concealers that work perfectly for me when I was a little less mature are starting to look bad in the crepiness of the eyes. It just settles and it doesn't blend out well. And like I said, I'm not able to do some of the different makeup tricks as well with the concealers where you highlight different areas of your face. It's like I get the dark circles under the eyes covered, but then when I use the colors that are lighter to add the highlight, it makes everything look muddy and the dark circles look worse than before I started. So trying to find products that work for both things has been a little bit difficult. Now I'm going to go ahead and pat that dry again like I did the last time. Let that set for a second and talk about this product here. There's 3 different shades of this palette. It comes in a light, medium, and a deep, and this palette that I have here is the deep palette. These palettes sell for $11.99, and like I said, I got this product at Ulta. It also comes in a white palette. The casing is white, and that one is just corrector shades by themselves. It's got yellow, green, lavender, and a really salmon color, which is good for the dark under eye circles for fair to medium skin tones. But if you're a woman of color, you probably need some type of more peach or orange, darker orange, to cover your dark marks and circles under the eyes. So that palette doesn't work as well for me. But in addition to those 4 corrector shades, it has 2 flesh tone colors. And I will pop a picture up of that over to the side so you can see what that palette looks like. And that one's also $11.99. I use almost everything in it. 3 of the 6 shades that are in this I use. As you can see right here, I use the conceal color quite a bit with the e.l.f. brush. If I'm going to be using a creamy concealer, this is what I reach for. And as you can see directly across from it on this side, this is the concealer shade I use the most. And down here there is a orange corrector. I don't know if that's showing up as orange as what it really is. And now we're going to get into reviewing them. You can see, like I said, I've had a lot of love for this palette, but there are some things that I don't like about working with this palette, and I'm going to dab my finger in it right now and show you how much product you need. I would not use a brush with this palette. If you're correcting something, you know, it's okay for contour, and maybe if you're going to use some of the colors to highlight, but I would definitely dab the product on the finger. And this is enough product. Like any more product than this and I wouldn't be able to get this blended. It is a thick, pasty filling product, and that I don't like about it, the way it feels. But the way it covers, it sets instantly, and this product does not seem to move. I am gonna tip my mirror up so it's gonna be on the screen again. Set this down and I'm gonna show you what it looks like when you blend it in. This is a product that you will want to tap, 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 that stippling motion. You do not want to try to rub this concealer at all to blend it. Otherwise it will make a mess on you and become streaky. The coverage is full and it's there right away. Any blending that needs to be done, all of it needs to be done with the tapping motion. It's such a thick product that even when it's on your finger and warms up, the consistency of it doesn't really change much. You can blend it in pretty well with the tapping motion. But like I said, the rubbing is really going to pull on the under eye skin and cause more crepiness and wrinkling. Plus, you're not going to be happy with the results of the blending if you do that. But this is what it looks like, and I find that this product sits really well. It still needs to be set with the translucent powder, otherwise it will crease if you have any fine lines. But despite it being thick, I don't even know how to describe it. Most of the concealers that are cream concealer, they seem to have a little more oil in them, so they crease in the fine lines more than what this one would. Even though this one is also thick, it is more of a paste that just sits where you put it. So once you set it, it seems to sit where I put it. I just don't sometimes enjoy the texture and the feel of it, but it does what it's supposed to do. And this is that medium type shade right here is what I used. And normally I go ahead and use the orange corrector first because I really want to cover up the dark circles before I put the concealer on top, because I like to try to brighten a little bit with the concealer. That's kind of a problem for me when I'm using this palette, because I always feel like I'm going to end up with too much product, since the orange corrector is the same texture as the rest of the concealer, and you're dabbing one on top of the other. It almost feels like you're going to get too much product. But I will let you guys see. I'm going to dab that dark spot here on the nose also and get that corrected. But let you guys see the difference between the one that has the orange corrector versus just the plain. And typically when you have orange corrector, like I could have just put it in the dark crease here, but I do have some darkness even all the way up to the eyelid, so I don't mind just a little bit of the leftover product, dabbing it in there. Here is what that looks like with just the orange corrector on. That's how it looks with just the orange. Now I'm going to go back in and first of all wipe some of that orange off my finger so it's not blending in with the rest of my concealer. And I'm going to go in and just dab, and like I said, just tap it a couple times, and that really is enough product. Go back over it with the tapping motion and cover that up. Need to take a peek and see if I need a little more. Dab just a little bit more in there. And if you put the orange concealer in other spots that aren't super dark, just know that you are going to need to go in and blend that out. And it doesn't necessarily have to be with the concealer from the palette. It could be with your foundation, which would be much lighter, because this is a pretty heavy, like I said, it's a heavy concealer. But out of the heavy concealers that I've tried, it's not super oily, so I find that it sits where you put it. And this is the difference between the two. This is just the medium tone concealer that I've used on both sides, but this is the side that's corrected with the orange corrector first, and then the medium concealer. So as you can see, I think for being such a thick product, both sides look really good. And this is before I've set either one of them with any translucent powder. Despite them both being thick to work with, I've put the orange concealer on, and it's just as thick as the concealer, and I don't see where the finish looks any different between the two. One doesn't look heavier than the other. But now I'm going to go ahead, and since I did put two different tones on each eye, I'm going to show you what they look like set with some translucent powder. So first of all, if you didn't set your concealer before you went to the other eye and you're starting to get some creasing, you can always go back in and just kind of tap it and touch it to soften those lines in the crease. So since I let that sit a few minutes, I thought I would do that and look up while I'm putting the powder on under my eyes. Grab a little bit more. Don't need too much. Try to get all the way up there. And that is done. Just wipe off any excess that I have. And that is it. That's both eyes with the, make sure I'm saying this right, Conceal and Correct palette, which this is a go-to concealer for me. It's always used with my concealer looks right now because it's where I'm finding I'm getting the best coverage for the dark circles. and the product has just been working really well for me. Like I said, I would give it a 5 out of 5. I would rate this at a pretty high rating just for the coverage, but I don't necessarily enjoy working with it, and I feel like it takes a little more work, but it really does do an awesome job at covering up the dark circles. And I'm going to move this out of the way so that you guys can see and let me know what your opinion is on this. But I think it really does a good job at covering up the dark circles. I may not be able to come in and highlight in that little triangle area like I want to, but just at this point, getting the dark circles covered is the most important thing to me. So I'm going to be trying lots of different concealers and doing reviews, always looking to see if there's something that works any better. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. Also, you'll want to hit that notification button next to the subscribe button so you get notified whenever I release a video. Thank you for watching my video and have a great day. So I can't wait to see what that yellow looks like. Here we have a greenish color. It's got a little bit of blue in it, and